the fuck is Hackathon?
Well, that's why it's on one of the doors. Okay, so Hackathon, it's people that need to solve a problem in a very short period of time, together, very rapidly, in a very open source manner.
Concurrimos al DocMontevideo del año pasado y esta creo que fue la primera vez que se generó esta actividad.
La importancia de traer este tipo de experiencia.
Y gente de Argentina como yo, de Uruguay y también de Brasil. Entonces hay también un chico de Colombia. Entonces como que toda Latinoamérica se termina beneficiando de una actividad que se está realizando acá.
Can mess up a hackathon. I think traditionally hackathons have been primarily software based, and I think what's hackening in the filmmaking community is that they're adding story to this, you know, type of model.
Sucede algo curioso con el hackathon y es que tú como realizador vuelves plural una idea que era muy singular, ¿no? Es decir, cuando uno llega a una hackathon viene con una idea como preestablecida, como con una intención, y en los proyectos interactivos esto se diluye por la propia naturaleza del proyecto, ¿no?
It's those two words together. It's hacking something, which is to deconstruct something and put it back together, and then the marathon, which is that you're doing it over some period of time.
A hackathon in Uruguay. Yes, I think there's different kind of hackathon. But right now what we're doing is mostly a mentorship. Never build an interactive project, so what we're trying to do is to show them what they can do with it, to guide them, to make sure that they understand what's interactivity, what is.
Era como esa posibilidad de expandir un poco la cabeza y pensar un trabajo documental más allá de una pantalla, sino de un espacio como más interactivo, como puede ser lo web, por ejemplo, o aplicaciones o juegos. Entonces está muy bueno acá venir y conocer experiencias que se vienen desarrollando ya de un tiempo en otros países, con gente con mucha experiencia, con mucho laburo, con muchas cosas, que te muestre y ya se te empieza a decir, ideas muy sencillas que están llevadas a cabo de una manera novedosa.
Te abre el espectro abundante de la cantidad de posibilidades que te dan para poder manejarte en este formato, pero a su vez también es como que te llevan a concretar las cosas, o sea, es como que te abren un abanico, pero a su vez te obligan a meterte en el embudo que hace como la idea más clara, más concreta.
I got like a lot of developers together with Palm Pilots and asked them, okay, so for the weekend I'm gonna buy pizza and beer, but we need to crack this problem, we need to make the device communicate between each other. So it's really about hacking is like you crack open, you take all the pieces apart and you throw what's superfluous and maybe you add what's missing and you reconfigure the thing.
Entonces los proyectos se vuelven como una cosa realmente plural, donde todo el mundo cuenta, ¿no? El diseñador, el programador, todo el mundo está siendo como parte de la autoría de ese proyecto y es interesante ver cómo ese proyecto se diluye, pero para crecer, no para desvanecerse, ¿no?
Es muy interesante que empezar a juntar los distintos productores y realizadores y también quienes vienen del ámbito académico para empezar a hablar no tan solo del tema documental y de los formatos nuevos sobre el documental tradicional, sino estas ideas de las nuevas pantallas, ¿no?
Yo creo que la experiencia hasta el momento ha sido genial porque en realidad me ha permitido interactuar con gente que hace cosas muy distintas a las que yo hago del día a día y veo cómo desde mi rol de programadora puedo aportar a ideas que son muy creativas, que son muy divertidas.
The other one which is funny is chat boulette. People are chatting and they have to say meatball, boulette in French anyhow they want to do it. So it's just stupid, like eternal chat of people saying meatballs. So, but another thing they did is like, it's called how private is your life? And so you don't need to put your name, then you have sexually transmitted disease, and then it really goes like deep, like did you ever try to kill yourself, what's your job title, what's your how much money do you make, bank account PIN, your Facebook password, and you submit it and it goes public. So it's a very, very simple way with like a form. This is like one of the oldest ways to do something on the internet is a form, but it's really a way to turn upside down a form and talk about what does private life means on the internet today. And you do it in a very volunteer way. And it makes you, when you start to do it, it makes you think about every time you accept something or you log in with Facebook or whatever, like how it's easy and fluid to just give away your stuff and you don't care. We never care about that. But when you do it consciously, entering fields, it starts to make you think about, okay, so what does my private life mean to me right now on the internet? Points with my mouse, but it isn't, because there's no time of loading. They just make you wait to anticipate, like it's volunteer. They do that intentionally. So I think it's a very interesting way of doing like a user experience. How do you think about the user experience? Or you make people wait. They want to make you wait. And every picture is already loaded in the project, because what they did, they just did a grid with every possibility of your mouse being somewhere, and they know where to load the right picture. And at some corner of a street, or I don't know where, you kind of add an epiphany, and you remember something very strong that happened at that place at that time that you forgot. So what he did is he asked his community of followers and fans to go on Google Street View and to go where they were born and raised and just walk around. And when they would have a souvenir, a memory that would come back that they forgot about, that they just have to take a print screen and just write down the memory that came back and send it to Zephyr. So he did a gallery of these souvenirs. So these are, is it strong? Yes. So it's really strong stories and moments in life. And it's very interesting how also he uses internet as a content. Instead of going like, let's shoot this, let's shoot that, it's all taking something that exists already. Just visuals. So, and the reason I'm showing you this is I'm just thinking about your project about collaboration. So just the way I move my mouse, it just reconfigures shape, color, form. So I say this because maybe you want to think about, this is one, I'm moving my mouse here. That's all that is happening, nothing else. His work is that it's the absolute adequation between the gesture of my hand and the result on an interface. It's not about pushing button or feeling that content is far away from me. It's really attached to my body in some way. So maybe we can think about collaboration more in a mathematical, geometrical way, like almost Tetris. But it's so relieving, like it's like and it makes you think about solicitation and saturation and threshold of information in the internet world. It's like a musical instrument with the keyboard. So if I change colors, the same shape will change down. 5 minutes max each team is maybe to tell us about what you decided today, what you ended up yesterday, when you finished the day saying, okay, these are our intentions, these are the skills we have, what can we really accomplish in this weekend of production? So are you able, ready to do this? Yeah? Okay.
I know. We had a few ideas, but nothing that concrete.
Okay. That's okay, because the next is really about that, bringing it down in a very simple manner.
Okay. Show map of the Peña, so where you could move inside of the place and
from place that you go, you could see something different or some different kind of information. And another idea that is like a chat with rims, like doing a payada that is like a freestyle but in folk music. So there are 2 players and they have the timing and the music. So in that time they had to do their 2 lines, and then it's the time of the other player to do the other 2 lines, and one go like. That was another idea. We have more like a play, a little play.
The first one is for the game. It's a legend about the origin of world. So the user represents one of the first creatures in the world, an unfinished creature who has to eat, take shelter. So for getting food, he can accomplish that task by himself.
I think we have an idea. It's a simple idea, but it's about a game. This game, like Juego de la Oca, I don't know in
Snakes and ladders.
Snakes and ladders. And I think our goal now is try to do it much simpler.
Yeah, so that's one of the problems we have is that we really have one good programmer, and then some of us know a bit about coding, but not much. So that's kind of a tough part. But we're thinking about a really simple 2-dimensional game, really flat, and getting some parts of the video, of the documentary, getting them in the middle of the game. For instance, you take a number. You're supposed to take a number to go to some doctor or whatever. Then a video shows of a person walking around a hospital, and then you get to the game part. And maybe solving some of the programming problems with videos in the middle and making it work.
So, user experience. So, okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to think about user experience. So, what we want you to boil down your idea into these four elements. First is duration. How long will the experience last? And think about this weekend. Don't think about your overall thing. Just think about this weekend. Like, do you want the person that will play with that? Is it 1 minute? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 2 minutes? And after it can play for eternity? Is it like, what's your expectation on that? Actions, what the person do, but not the person, like not inside the content. Like, what does it do as is behavior? Just in terms of behavior. You said, for example, I'll just take your example. You said you go around that place. So okay, so do you go left, right, front, and back? Like, what are the actions that the person does? Is the person pushing something? Is the person putting pressure on something? Like, what are the actions that the person does? And from these actions, you want just to have the functions. Like, does the person add to, if we have to enter text, do we need to have some text functions? Do we need to have upload function? Do we need to have, like, what are the functions we start to think about in terms of the results of these actions? And how does it end? How does what you're going to do this weekend, how does it gonna end? Is it something that you can play forever and you just like close a browser to end it, or you have to achieve a goal in order to end the thing? How does it end? So you want to think about these four things. So I want you to pitch us back the user experience at the end and the first person. So the person that will talk will be a first person presentation.
Ustedes digan, chiquilines.
Yo estoy grabando también.
So my name is Hugues Sweeney. I'm executive producer at the National Film Board. I'm in charge of interactive production in Montreal. And my background, actually, I did my studies in philosophy, but I've always been attracted to media. Did a lot of radio when I was a kid. So I don't know, I think in digital, the two kind of, in interactive documentary, the media and the philosophy kind of meet each other in some way.
Okay.
Yeah, what's your personal background? Yes.
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, I have a strong background in science, technology, and art. I went to school for pre-medical studies. At the same time, was very heavily involved in the coding just for fun. And eventually, I made my way into Tribeca Film Festival. And from there, based on my background and experience, when they built out the digital initiatives department, they brought me over.
I studied lots of things, lots of different things, but finally to do what I'm doing right now, I've studied like 10 years ago, we've been calling this in Quebec and Canada multimedia. And after that I've studied at the UQAM, the University in Montreal in cinema, so writing and everything, but finally it's my multimedia lessons that brought me into that crazy area, actually.
Who are you?
I'm an alien. No, I'm joking. My name is Opiemi Olukemi. I am the manager of digital initiatives of the Tribeca Film Institute.
National Film Board of Canada is a public producer, so we're not a funder, we're not a grantor, we're really a producer. It's been there for 75 years. This year is the 75th anniversary. There's over 14,000 films and projects that have been created since the origin. And in 2009, the NFB decided to take a digital shift. So that meant that we would dedicate 25% of production to interactive production. So the rest is 25% animation and 50% documentary. So now we've been in digital, we released more than 50 pieces. We won over 80 prizes all around the world, that more than 50% are international awards and distinctions. And yeah, I'm curious to see what the next 5 years will be.
My name is Adnan Wasai, and I'm from POV, which is a documentary show that's been on PBS in America for 27 years. It's the longest running showcase of documentaries, and my role is that I'm executive producer of POV Digital. So we are responsible for many things, as you can imagine, on the web and digital. So we are responsible for making websites for the films, but we also create interactive documentaries ourselves. And we also run POV Hackathon, in addition to running a blog and social media.
Bueno, yo de formación soy licenciado en comunicación social y después hice en España una maestría en nuevas tecnologías de la información y la comunicación. Vas a sacar por ahora cambió la denominación, tiene más que ver con la comunicación digital. Y a partir de eso siempre fui, y yo vengo de la realización audiovisual además, ¿no? Soy documentalista.
We are a year-round nonprofit that supports storytellers and change agents in this world. We provide funding, mentorship support, various initiatives during the Tribeca Film Festival each year, with the hope that we can increase the amount of diverse voices in the landscape of media. And whether that's for new forms of storytelling and digital initiatives, to traditional narratives or documentaries, or even through our educational department, where we kind of mold the new generation of storytellers. We definitely try to be really ambitious with who we work with and give them as much support as possible.
We started in 1994, if you can believe that, just 20 years ago, with chat rooms and message boards. And slowly we figured out that we should be thinking about interactive storytelling, not just interviews with filmmakers. So starting about 15 years ago, we started making this type of thing that we now call web documentaries. So we had projects about the environment, or about the United States-Mexico border, or about American identity, and we explored in multimedia.
So my name is Martin Vio. I'm working at the National Film Board of Canada as the lead of technology in the French program Interactive Team. So it's a long title, just to say that actually what I'm doing mostly is following teams when we're on production, pre-production, production, and hosting our projects. So I'm following the teams to make sure that we use the good technology in a good way, and that it serves the project, so the content, the documentary aspect of any project. And other than this, what I'm doing is doing some R&D, so some research about new technologies that we can use. As an example, we're starting to work with Oculus Rift, the new glasses, 360-degree glasses that Facebook just bought months ago. So we're going to start doing projects with that. So I'm testing the technology and
que tiene que ver con empezar a ver el pliegue de esa información, o sea, no los extremos y los lugares, digamos, de cruce, y no en la centralidad, ¿no?, de las profesiones, los desarrollos. Me interesa ver cómo se empiezan a cruzar y empiezan a borrarse esos límites, entonces, trabajar sobre las fronteras, lo que tiene que ver con el arte, con la comunicación, con el periodismo, con lo audiovisual, ¿no? Entonces ahí es donde nos posicionamos.
Tribeca Film Institute created a new department in 2011 called Digital Initiatives, and that was made in partnership with the Ford Foundation. At that time, we really were noticing that web documentaries were taking a foothold in the world, and we wanted to explore how we can engage audiences in different capacities and no longer through the passive viewing experience of a traditional cinema. From there, we have the new media fund, which we are now opening twice a year to give funding to digital storytellers. We also do a Tribeca Hacks program, which allows us to bring artists, storytellers, technologists, designers around for a short amount of time to create a digital work. We have something called TFI Interactive, which during the Tribeca Film Festival is a day-long event that allows us to just speak about how interactivity is changing the landscape, whether it's through education, design, media, whatever you can think of. We have the best speakers come and articulate their views on what's going on. And Digital Initiatives is really not just about producing a work, but exploring new forms of storytelling and creating a community. So I think through all of our initiatives, we try to have those tenets involved.
Una después depende de cada uno de los intereses. Pero me gustan las ferias, pero por lo menos vas a varias, hacer 2 o 3 clics seguro para ver qué es lo que hace la página.
El público objetivo es muy reducido para cualquier tema. Sí, hay temas que tienen más público, pero digo, siempre como bastante reducido. No tenés que tener esa primera experiencia.
Visual, transitable. Un libro, yo que sé, el menú, por ejemplo, se ve, un menú no creo que haya, pero algo sobre la barra hay.
Un cartón que lo escriben con silbapen, tipo wiki tanto.
Y había una fotito igual que tenía al lado del menú.
Sí, algo
más que esa te puedes llevar. O acá.
Porque como experiencia, ahí sí sabemos que es un juego que va a tener.
Eso que estábamos hablando, ¿no? Supongamos que vos sos un fotógrafo. Entonces, para ir a cosas absolutamente simples, inventar un lugar donde hay un rectángulo así. Entonces vos vas y te ubicás en el rectángulo, pero ocupás simplemente una parte. Bueno, esa otra parte necesita ser completada por otra persona que está en otro lugar. O sea, esperar la acción de la otra persona. Por ejemplo, una vez que la otra se pone, ¡plaf! Eso te hace pasar de nivel. Y en el próximo nivel vos ya se pone.
Si le das, como, si le das, no como. Trabajamos, você tem tudo, eu tenho a fome.
Capaz que sería, capaz que la comida es un color en particular o es una zona, puede ser esto.
Pensemos que también, porque si necesita sí o sí de la participación de otro, es como que bloquea mucho también el juego. Entonces puede estar la posibilidad de que ya haya como lo que ponía ahí como una victoria en común, como una ayuda.
Porque como experiencia, ahí sí sabemos que es un juego que va a tener.
Y que por otro lado, en una esquinita haya una botellita que tenga una cruz roja, por ejemplo, y que cuando la usás te recarga 1 minuto más. ¿Qué hacemos?
Sí, pero
no tengo
puede
idea.
ser de que esa colaboración ya exista dentro del juego.
Ah, bueno, hay que hablar con... Ya.
aclararlo de cada casilla.
Está. Ver objetivos de cada estación, capaz, en vez de cada casilla.
En esta casilla puede pasar tal cosa.
¿Y cómo lo pongo? ¿Pasarán?
Supera una prueba y va a otro punto final, ¿sabes? Bueno, definámoslo, por ahora definamos.
Creo que la parte de las piezas es algo más estético para hacer
Claro,
algo
me parece
bonito.
como que es importante.
Me llega una notificación, puede seguir, porque ya puedo seguir con el siguiente paso. Esto activa.
No, está bien.
La idea del concepto de transmedia, digamos, como todo nuevo concepto, en realidad es un concepto hace 10, 15 años que se empezó a hablar de esto, está en reformulación continua. La terminología ahora se está tratando a nivel más, desde las teorías de la comunicación, empezar a buscar un sentido y tratar de dar una definición, pero es una definición operativa que va cambiando a medida que se va desarrollando el transcurso del tiempo y van apareciendo nuevas cosas. Lo que te decía antes, que tiene que ver con el momento que estamos viviendo, tiene que ver con el pliegue, ¿no? O sea, nosotros somos, mientras investigamos y producimos, somos parte de esa investigación y esa producción. Por lo tanto, es bastante difícil de poner algo que sea taxativamente de una forma. Se confunde mucho multiplataforma con transmedia, con cross-media. Entonces, la diferencia fundamental, y con el interactivo, ¿no? Hay cosas interactivas que no son transmedia, hay cosas que son cross-media que no son transmedia, todo transmedia puede ser cross-media, y así sucesivamente. La diferencia fundamentalmente de lo que es el concepto de transmedia, sí o sí tiene que tener una estrategia de participación. Si no hay estrategia de participación en un desarrollo con una narrativa transmedia, es muy difícil que se pueda trabajar adecuadamente en los objetivos que se puede tener sobre esa relación de piezas. Porque tiene que ver fundamentalmente con un concepto, es cada historia en cada plataforma por sí sola tiene un sentido. Lo interesante es cómo se va en cada fragmento de esa historia, o sea, en cada pieza, cómo aporta a ese universo, ¿no? A ese gran desarrollo de lo que sería el canon del autor. Pero fundamentalmente a partir del aporte que hacen los usuarios o usuarios prosumidores, ¿no? Porque están produciendo sentido. Entonces, no tan solo sentido de entendimiento y empezar a, en términos, digamos, lo que sería el transmedia pero a nivel cultural, que sería las relaciones entre las distintas plataformas y las distintas narrativas que están en cada una de esas plataformas, es decir, lo que está en un movisodio con la serie de televisión, con lo que está en el diario, con lo que sale en un cartel en la publicidad o las relaciones territoriales, hacen a ese gran universo. Lo fundamental son las producciones del usuario, que son los que enriquecen ese universo, que hacen lo que se llama el ciclo de expansión de la historia, ¿no? O sea, lo que se hace es se expande la historia a nivel horizontal, pero lo interesante es que a su vez cada uno puede entrar por distintos niveles de la historia. O sea, yo puedo entrar por la plataforma, digamos, en realidad casi subalterna, que sería a lo mejor un movisodio. Entonces, entro ahí y a partir de eso, que sería una historia colateral o un spin-off, un derivado de la historia central, entro a la historia general. Pero cada una por sí sola tiene, digamos, se puede entender. Eso es lo interesante del transmedia. Pero eso funciona si lo impulsan estas audiencias participativas, prosumidores, en el cual van produciendo sentido, pero a su vez también van subiendo contenidos, ¿no? O sea, cada comentario que se hace, cada video que se sube, cada, digamos, trabajo fundamentalmente en las redes sociales. O sea, que cualquier proyecto transmedia tiene que tener un gran desarrollo de tracción de esos consumidores a partir de las redes sociales, punto de encuentro, es fundamental para poder conseguir una historia.
So are your questions part of the video, or is it just my answers? Do I have to repeat the question? Or?
No, it's really interesting because even in our own department, we have discussions about what we are. I think initially when we started, we try to be a transmedia fund. And transmedia isn't something new. It's been happening since, early 70s, not only in Hollywood, but also in, the traditional art or museum world. So I think we are more about interactivity now, because we're realizing that just because you have a documentary you can put on the web, in a sense that is a transmedia project, because you are transitioning the form of how you're absorbing information. So I think now we're more about interactivity. How can we have the technologies that are on hand enhance a story? And it's very different from transmedia work.
Well, I think of transmedia as something very different for different people. So I don't think that transmedia is really as applicable to documentaries as it is for fiction films. So I'm going to argue for interactivity. I think that's an easy answer for me. So interactivity for me is very exciting. I think that is the new frontier of what's possible. So right now you have, or up until lately, you had traditional films, linear films. You have to sit down and watch them for 90 minutes or 60 minutes. Now with interactive documentaries, you're able to do much more. That means that you are able to control the film in a different way. It's also possible to have a community involved, so it's not just you participating, multiple people might be engaging with that interactivity at the same time. So it creates a whole new level of what you can do as a filmmaker, a creator, or as an artist.
Transmedia or interactivity?
Oh, wow. Interactivity? I don't know, I think the transmedia word is kind of, it's a word that doesn't mean much a thing for me actually. I think people use it in many different ways actually, and I don't know if it's really a real world or a real way to do things. So interactivity, because I love to think that our projects, people can interact with our projects can interact with people, and so interactivity. It's kind of obscure what I'm saying, but both words are obscure actually.
When we were searching for a name of our studio, a lot of things came up. Digital, but today everything is digital, like linear, non-linear, and when I finished my study, I did studies in interactive media, and it was called, back then it was called multimedia, but like every year it had a new name. So after that it was like new media, and after that it was like they called it nouvelles technologies de la communication et de l'information, new technologies of information and communication, and then transmedia, and then cross media. So it always changed name. So we tried to find a word that was more in the relationship with the piece and the audience. And interactivity is just about that audience is actively engaged in the experience, and the actively is important in the sense that they're doing something. They're moving a mouse, they're moving in a space, they're making decisions, or they will upload a piece of media. So it was really to bring the notion of bringing the audience part of the experience in an active way. So, and it's interesting because it kind of sticks, like after all these years we see the media evolving, and it kind of gives specific meaning to it above changing trends. Or so I think transmedia is really about how the shape of all media industries are changing. So transmedia is true for like a newspaper, a radio broadcaster, television, the world of books, like edition of books. It's more about how do you use all these new channels of communications with an audience. So, but there's going to be a new buzzword next year, I guess. So one person at the first person, you tell the story of the experience of one user, right? So who wants to begin? You? Alright, okay, let's do it. Person, at the first person, you tell the story of the experience of one user, right? So who wants to begin? You? Alright, okay, let's do it.
Would be, as one user would have to put one piece of the Tetris, and then the other user, like in another place in the world, wherever he is, who is connected, puts the other piece, and together they form this whole body of a character. That at the beginning you don't notice what you're forming, you just think you're playing. But then, like, you see each piece, and you notice it's like a person.
So how long does the experience
Maybe
last?
not each match, but like each couple of matches, because if not,
But what you're going to accomplish by Sunday night is going to last a minute and a half. After that, there's a clip of, there's a video that starts after that. So the actions, what are the actions? So what are the function of the actions? Because you say you're doing, so are you playing with the mouse? Is it, you play with the arrows? What do you do exactly?
Right, so are you saying that you'll have building blocks? But Tetris, the whole thing is that it's supposed to be like, you're not supposed to reach to the top.
It's confusing. The pieces are like Tetris, but they don't fall
it's
down.
more like a puzzle.
Okay,
Maybe.
so they fall down into a human form.
You start with big pieces, and then you zoom out, and you see the silhouette forming.
How both collaboration between two players would work? How they would trigger each other?
We realized that it's very ambitious to wait for someone to collaborate. So we take the idea of the pinpoint, one of the clips you pass, and we are going to generate our content first, so the user don't have to wait. We give the illusion of he is waiting for someone, and then we will gather real content and use it in the future for further users.
That's for the presentation.
Yeah.
But could two of you do it at the same time?
Yes.
So why don't you do that?
You mean on Monday?
I mean, building the project, not waiting for someone in the world, but someone sitting next to you.
Oh yeah, that's well, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So one of the games, everyone was blindfolded, and they had these foam letters, and so there was a question, and the four teammates had to come up with this four-letter word, not knowing the letter that the other person was holding up. So they come up with a word like, what's a giant green monster from Marvel comic books? So they had a lot of letters, not just H-U-L-K, but they had many letters, and they had to spell Hulk. They all had blindfolds on, so they couldn't see what the other person was doing. But if they felt the letter, if it felt like K and I was number one, I would hand it down to the fourth person saying, I couldn't say anything, but like, this is a K, figure out that you're supposed to hold this up. People who are playing together maybe blindly, like you're saying, they don't know they're making a human. Maybe someone has pieces and they're blind of what the other person is doing, but together they can try to do something, and after they've all done, or when they, so let's say you have a head and you assume this must be a person, so I'm going to put the head kind of positioned here, and someone else has an arm and they think, well, an arm kind of goes here in a person.
There was a pointer game.
Same group, right?
Yeah.
So it was a music video, but it would say, everyone with your mouse pointer, so one person, make a happy face. So everyone had to organize in real time and move their cursor to make the eyes or the mouth or the circle around the face. But the amazing thing was, with 1,000 people doing this, they would make a face. So it's one of the great things you can do with the web and with collaboration. So I think you want to do a little bit more research before you get started about what the possibilities are. There are many, many possibilities.
Thinking more something more basic with only two people.
I think it's a good thought also, just for the purpose of the prototype, to think about what can one person do, what can two people do. But the great thing is, you have many people in your team. So
porque recién venimos de
Sí, están todos en la misma.
Sí, recién venimos de definir un poco, bueno, el proyecto que estamos trabajando nosotros, el tema de fondo es la colaboración, en un sentido amplio. El usuario entra a un sitio en el cual está en una playa con el mar y hay una botella con un mensaje y una botella para tirar al mar. Entonces el usuario tiene que escribir un mensaje que va a recibir otra persona que él no conoce y que el sitio se va a encargar de ubicar a esa persona en el mar de Internet. Ese mensaje que el usuario escribe está incitado por el sitio a partir de una pregunta y tiene que ver con cosas humanas, como por ejemplo, ¿cuándo fue la última vez que lloraste con un amigo? O ¿cuándo fue la última vez que alguien te regaló un helado?
Estamos investigando cómo vamos a hacer toda la estética del mar y las botellas. Estamos viendo si vamos a usar filmaciones o vamos a hacer gráficos. Y bueno, después vamos a incorporar todo a un sitio web donde esos sean los elementos más impactantes visualmente, lógicamente. Y bueno, después vamos a hacer toda lo que es la interacción entre el hecho de que vos tires eso al mar y alguien en cualquier otro lugar del mundo lo reciba. Que simplemente te vas a suscribirte a recibir notificaciones sobre recibir botella.
Claro. Y última pregunta era, ¿cómo ves vos que se une con Normal el proyecto en sí?
No se une, sí, se une, bueno, desde ya el proyecto que yo había inscrito en la Hackathon se modificó antes de que llegue a la Hackathon. Entonces cuando llegué estábamos tratando otro proyecto, se modificó por estas cosas de los proyectos documentales que van mutando, y entonces al llegar aquí empezamos a trabajar sobre el tema de la colaboración y discutiendo y bueno, y pensando fue como terminamos con este prototipo, que estamos todavía buscando la manera de poder siempre desarrollar una idea simple, pero que en la simpleza transmita el mensaje del tema.
Claro.
Bueno. In Yandukuleko website for 5 minutes. I was standing at the entrance and I saw some highlighted stuff which I clicked on to know a little more about them. I watched a 1-minute video. I read the story of a woman. I participated in a freestyle poetry challenge called Payada and saw some great pictures of the place too. And I also heard some old radio segments, and after I figured out how the site works, I was ready to leave. When I tried to leave the site, it asked me if I wanted to leave a comment or picture so that I could be part of the project as well. You understand?
Yeah, but didn't we have like a music toy kind of thing earlier today?
Yes. Yeah, so the poetry challenge called Payada.
Okay.
So how are you envisioning navigating through all these points? Is the character walking through mouse
I was
clicks?
standing at the entrance, and you can see the whole place when you're standing at the door, the main door, and you can see them, and some stuff are highlighted, so you can click.
Navigating through a path or a village or an area.
100.
So maybe you want to think about which one is the more interesting, and maybe concentrate on that one, because you're heading towards producing like 2 parts of a project, and you should focus on one in order to go as further as possible in this exercise. My takeaway would be more the music thing, like try to think, this is a more playful, it's the most immersive, use of sound, use of visual, probably use of text in some way. In terms of interactivity, it seems seems to be the one including the most the user. That's my thought, but maybe you wanna, because recreating an environment and going through the environment, making choices and starting content is production in itself.
One is more related to the project or the content of the documentary, that is like the sea of the place and different stories. The other one is like a spin-off of the
profundidad
algo que quede perspectiva.
Claro, que en vez de ser una cosa plana, que fuera una cosa así y que...
El proyecto que estamos desarrollando acá viene inspirado en el trabajo documental que hicimos, que es sobre una pulpería y una peña folclórica uruguaya. Entonces la idea es como hacer como una pulpería global a través de internet, y donde gente de distintos pueblos del mundo pueda subir y mostrar un poco las manifestaciones tradicionales. Cuando vos entrás a este sitio interactivo, vos ves un mapa del mundo mundo, te podés posar sobre alguno de los países o de las regiones del mundo y ahí entras y ves como un gran mosaico con una cantidad de imágenes, algunas preseteadas y otras que la gente va subiendo, y que te posás sobre alguna de esas imágenes y te lleva a un elemento que puede ser una canción tradicional o un texto o imágenes, y la gente puede ir mostrando como distintas versiones sobre esas cosas tradicionales.
The shape would be maze-like, but if I was a player, for example, I'd take a number that would tell me where to go, and then I would make some decisions. They put me in a situation in which they tell me, I don't know, they ran out of medication. What do? You either go to another office and try to get the medication. They say they'll bring it in 2 days and you wait. Just for example. The idea that, sorry, I'm not used to be the one that talks. And okay, so you have to make choices and decisions, and that would make my life either longer or shorter. Well, just clicks, and it's not much about. We're trying to keep it simple because we don't have much programmers. So the idea would be just clicking and taking the decisions that way. And well, the game it's just about whether the person lives or dies.
The navigation and the interaction is just by clicking.
Just by taking numbers and seeing how much you have to move and what happens when you get to some certain place.
What do you see? Do you see video? Do you see photo? Do you see graphics? What do we see?
We see graphics in 2D, and in some points it appears videos, a combination, but the interface is 2D animation.
Okay.
It's like a maze.
And in some points you can see some videos.
Okay, and you're quite ahead into the user experience. So what we're going to do now is that, well, sorry, you want to comment? Yeah, because what I suggest is that, so just listing not 20, but what are the events that happen. So that means that you're gonna roll the dice or take the number, let's say in that 2-3 minutes, maybe it's gonna happen 5 or 6 times. So what are the events that can happen? So you get a little bit more specific. For team number 2, like Adnan was saying, I think you want to just look at how to be collaborative on the web, and maybe just look at, like, with the theory that represents the most the project, how we can translate that into the experience. And team number 3, I think you really want to make that choice about, are you going for the music thing or the being in the space thing. So because what we're going to do now, we're going to rewind and do it again. So another half hour, you're going to do exactly the same exercise, but you will need to take in consideration what has just been said.
Cuando salís vas para la derecha, son las 3 salas que están ahí.
Dale, allá vamos.
Si ya hay gente, pues no sabía si capaz estaba abierto o no.
El proyecto se llama Impaciente, perdón, ¿a quién miro?
Como quieras, a mí para la cámara.
Vale. El proyecto se llama Impaciente, es un proyecto sobre el sistema de salud, cómo funciona un poco el sistema de salud, las deficiencias que tiene cuando un enfermo se tiene que enfrentar, digamos, a los diferentes procesos que tiene que vivir dentro del sistema, ¿no? Como por ejemplo las largas esperas, el dinero que tiene que poner, las negaciones a los medicamentos y bueno, un poco como las trabas que uno ve, sobre todo en nuestros países latinoamericanos, las deficiencias que tiene el sistema sanitario, ¿no? Respecto al paciente que está como un poco pues indefenso respecto a eso, ¿no? Entonces la idea del proyecto interactivo es generar como un juego serio donde tú de alguna manera puedas recorrer esos diferentes espacios, un poco cuáles son las rutas que tienes que seguir y que te enfrentes o que vivas como en primera persona, cuáles son como esos retos que tienes que seguir a partir de unos escenarios que nosotros le proponemos al interactor.
Estamos en la fase inicial del proyecto, pero la idea es que bueno, el usuario elige un personaje, masculino o femenino. A partir de esa elección ingresa en una especie de interfaz que es como una planta de hospital vista desde arriba, y a través de su recorrido por esa planta se van disparando determinados eventos que seguramente van a ser videos, donde tiene que hacer determinadas cosas que en ese video se va explicando, ¿no?
La película en sí cuenta la historia de una mujer que pierde a su hija, digamos, y tiene que lidiar con el proceso de la enfermedad de su hija y tiene que lidiar con toda esta burocracia. Entonces la película de alguna manera pretende acercarse desde un punto de vista como muy personal a esa vida. El proyecto interactivo de alguna manera lo que pretende es como ampliar un poco esa mirada y tratar de darle al espectador e interactor como muchas más herramientas para que pueda decidir los otros caminos posibles.
Al doctor, entonces el doctor le dice que tiene que hacerse determinados análisis, tiene que ir a otra sala donde tiene que cumplir determinadas funciones. A partir de ahí, bueno, puede volver a donde empezó o puede ir a la farmacia a buscar determinada medicina que puede estar o no, y eso le va dando mayor o menor vitalidad. Entonces el objetivo del juego obviamente es mejorarse y poder salir del hospital, pero también está la posibilidad de no poder hacerlo y perder vitalidad e incluso morir.
El proyecto interactivo realmente lo que da además es como esa personalización, digamos, de esa problemática, ¿no? Es como decirle al que está jugando, oye, esto te puede pasar a ti también, y es importante de alguna manera que sepas o que entiendas un poco cómo es la dinámica en la que te estás moviendo.
Round 1. Fight.
La persona que entra puede decir, bueno, yo subo, no sé, me gusta Citarrosa, entonces sube una imagen de Citarrosa y eso queda puesto desde ese usuario. Entonces como que se va como aumentando, o incluso como algunos, los más viejos, ya no hay lugar, se bajan y van quedando otros. Y cada imagen, lo que tenga puede ser un cuadro, puede ser una placa o un mapita o no sé qué, y al darle información ahí te vas a un link de algo relacionado con eso. O sea, nada, era como la idea esa del lugar que cada persona que entra con esa pulpería y que se vaya armando con cosas que a la gente le disparen a partir de eso que quiera dejar en ese lugar.
Como un muro, ¿no?
Translation, what's going on now?
I had the idea of the visual place of a wall where the people, this place is full of pictures and things.
So this is our project. In the hackathon, we're focusing on this. So you make it narrow. You can be like, okay, project, I don't know what the name is. You can show this. It's focusing. Show them just one of the multiple modules and figure out how to make this as an engagement.
Yo si quieren puedo escribir lo que
Yeah,
quería hacer.
right.
What flavor did you get the last time that you have someone offers you a experience? Por ejemplo. En español. No iba así, re casera.
So we have 10 minutes left.
Sea un maquinito que se mueve siempre para el mismo lado. Ver los videos, sí, aunque eso también depende de su programación. ¿Cómo va a ser el guión de
RPG, tipo, claro, lo que era básicamente es, bueno, las paredes, que eran las que delimitaban el movimiento del personaje y, bueno, el movimiento del personaje en sí. Después, como último,
nomás, tipo, ¿dónde van a estar las cosas? ¿Dónde van a estar los botones? Cuando salga el pop-up, el botón va a estar ubicado acá y acá.
Sí, el botón seguramente siempre va a estar.
Claro. Y para acá hay una animación.
Lo que participaba y que había que hacer lo menos posible para que funcione.
¿Es tuya?
Jersey. be aware of.
Vos sos Santiago de nariz.
Pobre se me hace, ¿sabes? Como que siento que es el mismo dado de toda la vida. Porque la metáfora al final se termina agotando en esto. O sea, esto estaba bueno porque nos lo imaginamos en video con el cartelito que está funcionando. Pero al final esto funciona como un stage, es algo que uno puede ir repitiendo, ¿sabes? El sacar números ahí. Creo que es algo que se agota rápido. Bueno, es una hora de
igual vas a hacer solo dos. La persona en sí va a sacar dos números, ponele.
Que siento que puede ser como más interesante, ¿verdad? A nivel conceptual que el
Sí, no,
número.
es que seguramente en el real la persona se podría mover libremente, pero ahora en cuestiones de programación podemos hacerlo únicamente de esa forma, me parece.
En programación tú puedes generar que la flecha adelante, la de moverte, es lo mismo.
Sí, pero la diferencia está en que si nosotros vamos a dar una imagen de fondo, como si el laberinto en sí va a ser una foto, y ellos trazan si la persona va a ir de la estación 1 a la 2, por ejemplo, ¿no? Ellos trazan este camino y la foto puede tener cualquier cosa que el bicho va a hacer ese camino.
O sea, obviamente el prototipo va a ser dirigido eso. Saco 5 y lo mandaste para tal lado, obvio. Opcionalmente él puede elegir, saqué 5, tengo 5 para hacia adelante o hacia la derecha.
En cuestiones de esto.
So it's about communicating, respecting everyone's platform and where they're coming from, and then taking the best of each and creating something new.
So that might be a documentary filmmaker with a designer, or it might be a journalist with a interaction designer, or it might be an artist with a game creator. And this is the exciting thing. It's about bringing these different people together for a short period of time to make something.
People will find the solution without searching for it. They're gonna just try stuff and something will happen. We call it serendipity, often it often happens in science where you would, in a specific research, you would just like try stuff, not try to think too much, just try them, and the solution will appear in a different way or different place that you would imagine.